Hello, my name is Jonathan Parker, your instructor for Introduction to History, also known as the History of Everything, because we cover the Big Bang up to right this second. This is a course that my teaching chair, Dr. David Thompson, developed and I had expressed interest in, and I got him to agree to let me teach a section of it. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I've been very excited about the opportunity to run this class, and let's dig into it. All right. We're going to try to go through the syllabus as quickly and as painlessly as possible because I know this is just the fun, riveting lecture that everybody looks forward to all year long. My contact information, the best and most efficient way of getting a hold of me is just my email, but make sure you spell my name right. A lot of people don't, and then a lot of people get really mad when I don't respond to emails I never got. So here it is, Jonathan, period, Parker at icc.edu. My name is spelled correctly here. My name is probably spelled correctly in 2 or 3 other places that I don't have access to that you can see as students. Anyway, I share room 216C with other adjunct faculty members, and this is on the East Peoria campus in the academic building. I am here and available for you at these times listed in my office. I've had a dozen students come in 6 years. So, I am here to help. Please come by, take advantage. Other office hours by appointment only. I am perfectly willing to meet at a time that isn't this, although this is the best and most surefire way you're going to get a hold of me. But I will do everything within my power, to help you and facilitate communication if the office hours aren't working for some reason. The only caveat is we have to find a mutually agreeable time, because, my job isn't my life, and you being a student isn't your life. I live in the world. It's, this isn't the only thing that you and I are doing. So I will say this. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns during the semester, please reach out. Remember, teachers cannot read minds. I am not a psychic. I do not have those abilities. I can tell usually by the look on your face maybe that you're confused, but it's not surefire. Reach out if you need help. All right, reach out. I don't know. You should not assume I know if you're confused. I am available by email otherwise and will endeavor to get back to you within 1 business day of your inquiry. The course description you can read for yourself. General information here. You can read for yourself. The course level and institutional learning outcomes you can read for yourself. Materials of instruction. You're going to need all these books, all 3 of these books. They're relatively inexpensive. I have to confess I'm unsure if they're in the bookstore. I would have to ask Dr. Thompson if they are in the bookstore. But if not, there are 3 ways there that you can find them. You will need them. Get your hands on a copy. All right. Dr. Thompson does have, I believe, copy a very limited amount. You're competing with his students too. There are a very limited amount of these available on reserve at the library. I do know that. So course policies, if you need to get a hold of me, the email address is the best, fastest, and most surefire way to do that. You'll get a response, all things being equal, within 24 hours. Just as a side note, I know this is nitpicky. It's Mr. Parker or Sir. All right. Emails you send should be addressed to Mr. Parker. Over the last few semesters, people have, I don't know what's been going on. It's been Jonathan, John, Jack, hey pal. It's No, I got an email from a student all semester long. He did this. Dear Jonathan.Parker@icc.edu. No clue why. Use of my first name is disrespectful. Do not refer to me by my first name. It's just one of my hang-ups. All right. Assignment submissions. I am a teacher of the old school. I will not accept any electronic forms of submission for classwork. Everything you hand in must be a hard copy that you print out and bring to class. One of the reasons for that is a paper trail is still, the best and most surefire way to make sure you get the grade you earned at the end of the semester. Canvas is a learning management system. It's a good one, but it's been known to fail from time to time. And the easiest way for me to recreate, your grades in the event that something gets lost, wiped, say I input them, but I do something silly and forget to save them. Human error is a thing too. You can easily hand me back the paper. I can rectify the error. Everybody goes home happy, right? So that's the way we're going to do it. Hard copy all the way. If you were sick, email me to let you know that you were ill, just when you can. I know if you've got the flu or something, emailing me isn't the first thing you're thinking of. And just bring a hard copy the next time you come to class. There should never be an instance where you're emailing me any sort of assignment. Do not do that. That happened a lot during COVID while we were still trying to figure out what was going on, and I lost a whole bunch of things, and everybody was angry, and we're just not doing that again. I've gotten emails in the past stating something to the effect of I can't come to class because I need to study for a test I have later. I'll turn in my work next class. Take it from me, you will not be turning in anything you missed if I receive an email from you like that. I realize that introduction to history is I won't make assumptions. I'll just say it probably isn't, number one on your priority list. I get that. But I put a lot of work into putting this together, organizing this, conferring with Dr. Thompson. All that tells me is, I'm blowing you off because I don't think you're important. I mean, it's not something you'd say to your employer. I would hope, anyway. Don't say it to me. Academic citation etiquette. Whenever you turn in a written assignment, you are required to cite your source if, and I will paraphrase here, if it's not something that has come out of your head, all right, if it's not a totally original idea or thought written in a totally original way, you've got it from somewhere. You have these 3 books that you're going to be working out of quite a bit, all right? If Boyer says something and about the form of the Constitutional Convention, quote him. Don't pretend though that, say you open to page 10 and copy down everything that's in there, turn it in as an assignment, and hope I don't notice. Just quote, Boyer says this. I agree because this. I think, it's okay. It's perfectly fine. We're all there at some point in our academic careers where we just are learning. At the end of your written assignments, you were required to provide a list of sources that you have utilized for the assignment. This is an introduction to history course. This is as you know, because that's what the course is called. This isn't necessarily a me thing that we're using Chicago style, but it makes sense as to why we have to, when we get to the oral presentation and the term paper portions of the syllabus here. So we will use Chicago style format for bibliographies and inline citations for this class. Okay. I know, I've tried that before. I teach political science also. I've tried APA. I know this is not one of the popular ways of citing things, but it makes a lot of sense in the context of this being a social science class, this being an introduction to the study of history. So I'm sorry, we're stuck with it. Chapter 10 in the Benjamin book, A Student's Guide to History, shows you how to do this. It gives you examples. I mean, it's basically, this is how you cite a book with one author. All right. Just fill in the relevant information. Inline citations are also expected in any writing assignments that you turn in where you have used outside sources. Outside sources being defined as not one of the 3 course textbooks. All right. If you have any doubts about whether something needs to be cited, just cite it. Don't take chances with your grade. I've never, ever, ever, and never would even imagine taking off points because you've overly cited something. I mean, I might just circle with a red pen and say, hey, you didn't need to do this, but that would be the extent of it. Wikipedia is not an academic resource. I know some colleagues anyway, disagree. All of the students that I've had have disagreed, but it's not an academic resource in my mind. Nobody has ever successfully changed my mind, and I'm the one giving you the grade. So Wikipedia is not going to appear in any sort of anything that you turn in. It is going to negatively impact your grade. Now, again, I live in the world of people, and I realize that you go on there anyway, and I'm not saying that the links at the bottom of those articles to outside sources can't be a good launching point for research, but wikipedia.com /whatever is never, ever, ever going to appear on anything you turn in, period. Academic misconduct, plagiarism, basically the Student Rights and Responsibilities Handbook says I can fail you for an assignment or fail you for the course. There's a 2-strike system at play here. The first time you plagiarize, and you think your teachers don't know, but we do, I fail you for the assignment, whether it's worth 1 point or 20% of your grade. It's gone. The second time, I fail you for the class. Now, I have never had to get to failing a student for plagiarizing twice, and I do not want to, but I have had to give students zeros because they've plagiarized. And AI, the use of artificial intelligence, is also cheating. It is plagiarism. All AI tells me is how well you can configure a prompt into a computer. It doesn't tell me anything about your intellectual ability. It doesn't show me mastery of course material. All AI does is tell me that student X really knows how to write a question, and get a bot to generate whatever it is. Plagiarism includes copying or obtaining information from another student, contracting for original work with a third party, and generating or revising assignments with the aid of AI. And we just covered that. Copying or obtaining information from another student. Students get silly with this and just assume I'm not going to notice. Yes, I do notice when one student, lets another student copy and they just copy the whole thing. A bell does go off in my head. Hey, I just read this. So just don't do it. Just do the work the right way. Get a good grade. Be proud of the grade you earned because, you're hopefully it represents the best effort that you put forward. It says here that we're not expressly authorized by the instructor. I am saying here, I will say in class when I see you, never, ever, ever, ever will I okay the use of artificial intelligence. Never. I know it's here. I know it's here to stay. It's going to stay out of my classroom for as long as I can keep it out. So I told you, strike one, you get a 0. It could be 1 point. It could be half your grade, and you're not going to get to do it again. Second time, you get an F for the class. Special needs and extra help. Illinois Central College offers many forms of support and assistance, etc., etc. The web, this is worth a look, really. All sorts of things. I requested once an old book for some research I was doing eons ago. They were able to get it. I mean, these guys are good, and they can get just about anything you want. I mean, maybe not within the day, but they can get it pretty darn quick. And a whole lot of stuff. Appointment scheduling with your advisor, transfer planning, all sorts of stuff. There is so much available to you. That was certainly not available back when, I went to school with George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. That was a joke, by the way, and just in case you thought I was being serious. Or I have a very dry sense of humor. Late submissions. As a rule, I do not accept late work. However, again, I live in the real world and realize that things do happen. So, if something truly unfortunate happens, which I hope it doesn't, and we all get through this semester, all of us happy, healthy, and relatively unscathed, but if something does happen, just come to me with some evidence that you are telling the truth, because unfortunately I've been lied to and am now asking for proof. I've never said no. I mean, if there was a death in the family, I've had students, it's been scary getting to car crashes. I will work with you. I've never said no. All right. So you feel free to communicate with me, to talk to me. However, and this has happened too, I went to a Taylor Swift concert last night, Mr. Parker, and I don't have that assignment done. I had other homework to do for my biology class, which is what I'm going to major in, and this is just a gen ed that doesn't mean anything to me. These things have been said. You're not going to be turning anything in at all. Okay, we got the standard 10-point grading scale. Methods of presentation. This seems kind of limiting. I mean, we're talking about just a very general overview, really, of all recorded history. So there's going to be some of me talking, some of you guys, researching some things and presenting videos. Dr. Thompson is a fan of those crash course videos. I like some of those too. We might watch some of those during classes. It's really wide open. Other than these, beyond these three things. So here's what you care about the grade. Research paper and oral presentation. I am grouping those together. I taught a history class, History 118, which has room in it if you are looking for another history class this semester. And I just felt it would work better if I grouped the research paper and the oral presentation into one thing, since the oral presentation should kind of lead you to the research paper, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Tests, I'm just grouping it all together. So 1, 2, and the final, that's 30% of your grade total. The final isn't anything different. Exam 1, Exam 2, final, they're all getting glommed in on this 30% semester grade. And then, everything else that we do that isn't a test, a research paper, or an oral presentation, 30% of your grade. You can read this on your own. Exams will be cumulative. Maybe. I want to see how it goes, so I'll say exams will be cumulative. Maybe. We'll see how it goes, since this is the first time I'm teaching this. Potentially including any topic throughout the course up to that point. Questions may include true, false, multiple choice, just the standard stuff. If you have to miss an exam, and this has happened, let me know as soon as possible, preferably before the exam. I was hired here as a political science instructor. I've dovetailed last semester into history as well, so I do history and political science. But political science, we went over an exam, and a student got up and told me afterwards, I haven't taken the exam. Okay, now what do you do with that? So I'm clamping down. Let me know as soon as possible, preferably before the exam. Otherwise, you must contact me immediately by phone or email. I'm not sure why phone is in there. Within 24 hours. If you fail to do so, you will not be eligible for a make-up exam. It is not acceptable to wait until the next class meeting, because that is when we will probably be reviewing the exam results. And I get those out pretty quick. If an exam comes, I put aside everything else I'm grading, and I get those puppies graded and back to you ASAP. Because I know, a lot of you are nervous about them. They're a big chunk of the grade, etc., etc. Writing standards. Now, unfortunately, we've come to this point. Part of your grade for any writing-based thing that we do is going to be, based on the accuracy of information. You can't tell me, that, in 2023, they discovered that the Tsar's daughter, Anastasia Romanov, was living in Paris and was just false. Organization and intellectual quality of your analysis. Style is also important, right? So accuracy, organization. Okay, so move through a paper in a logical way. This happened in 1900. This happened in 1910. This happened in 1920. Style is also important. Grammar, spelling, formal tone, careless, overly familiar writing. One thing I've noticed is students write increasingly like they text. I even get like the @ symbol sometimes, or it's not great. So this does play a part, as well as grammar, spelling, and all that. I'm looking at content, but if the content you turn in is so riddled with grammar errors and spelling errors, and that it takes me 40 minutes to discern what it is you said, you're not going to get a good grade. I can tell you that. The more you make me act like an English teacher with my red pen, capitalizing things and putting commas, and the lower your grade's going to be. And that's just kind of the way it is. It is not my responsibility to chase you down to make sure you are keeping up with your work. It just isn't. I have looked, and there are more than a few freshmen. That isn't what college is. I know in high school, instructors chase you down to make sure you're getting your work done. If you don't turn something in, I just put in a 0. That's it. College is about starting to realize if you haven't personal responsibility. All right. So ask. I mean, if you have to miss a class, if whatever happens, life happens, ask me, ask a classmate. But if you just don't, you're going to start seeing a lot of zeros on Canvas. Controversial issues and civility. This is an important one. For reading and writing, I'm just going to read it. For reading and writing assignments as well as discussion, be prepared possibly to confront historical events, concepts, and beliefs which you may find controversial, disturbing, and potentially offensive. Describing, analyzing, and understanding such things does not mean we approve of them. For example, I teach comparative politics. Depending on the semester, I mean, we get to this or we don't, but we discuss the genocide occurring in China of the Uyghur Muslims. Students, were disturbed by that. I hope they don't approve of it. I don't think any reasonable person would be approving of a genocide. But if there is disagreement, you maintain an attitude of civility and mutual respect. I've had a great track record with this, a great track record. People should feel free to express opinions without fear of retaliation. If you're uncomfortable, sometimes that's just how it's going to be. I mean, in life, we're not comfortable all the time. It's how you learn. It's challenging maybe a belief that you held. Maybe, it's an event you hadn't heard of. Whatever it is, But you should respect me, respect your classmates, respect yourself. Studying history is how we learn from the mistakes of the past and don't repeat them. All right? So disagreements and debates are an essential part of higher education. You need to challenge ideas intellectually rather than attacking people personally. Play the ball, not the player. Meaning keep your eye on what we're actually talking about and don't engage in personalities. Don't attack someone because of, just be nice, treat others the way you want to be treated. Attendance policy, students are expected to attend class each week. Attendance is defined as completing coursework, doing homework assignments, as well as attending class lectures. There's a 100-point grade attached to encourage you showing up. There'll be a binder in front of the classroom with an attendance sheet. It is this color. It was the loudest, most obnoxious color I could find in the bookstore when I bought it. So look for that. There'll be a sheet with everybody's name in it. You just sign off that you were there that day. That's reason one, so I can give you the correct grade, for the number of classes you've attended. And also the college asks for never attender and non-attender rosters to be completed at points throughout the semester. And there are 35 people enrolled in this class right now. I am in no way at all going to know where all 35 of you were on any given class period in August, and the roster might be due sometime in October. So the college handbook states that 5% of classes missed during a semester constitute an excessive number of absences for a class and may merit being dropped. That's approximately 1 week. I've had to drop students. I don't like doing it. I mean, you don't get into education to fail students, to drop students, to make students' lives harder. You get in it to teach, right? But students sometimes don't give you a choice. I've had to drop students for excessive absences. Like you go, I don't know what some people think is going to happen. You go away for a month, which has happened to me. You come back, say, what can I do to pass the class? Well, nothing really at that point. So, take away from the syllabus here, keep an open line of communication with me, and you will be just fine. You will learn something from this class. I mean, I'm calling it the history of everything, so I hope you learn at least one thing. You might even enjoy yourself. Anticipated list of topics. This isn't in chronological order and is in no way comprehensive. We're just going to see where the class goes and what you might be interested in. I'm thinking, we've got to start here. That isn't a choice. We have to start there, but I'm thinking, we might go on and, I might say, well, you want to talk about the English constitutional monarchy, China, or India next, and letting you guys pick, but we'll see how the class goes. The topics listed, to my mind anyway, I mean, you may disagree, and that's perfectly all right, represent a diverse range of historical topics that span a wide geographical area and period of time. So again, remember that we only have 16 weeks together, and the class is supposed to give you an overview of all recorded history. So, I mean, we're not going to be able to touch everything. I mean, what there is, I mean, we're not going to be able to get through in great detail. And that's just the way it is. I reserve the right to add or subtract from any part of this syllabus as the semester progresses. I will make every attempt to notify you through Canvas and or through email. That's just in there as a catch-all because, again, this is my first time with this class, and there might need to be a change. I don't know. Any work you turn in will always be due on the Thursday class is held. If there is no class on a given Thursday, you have until the next Thursday to turn the assignment in. So Thursdays are when you're turning things in. Thursday is when we meet. This is entirely accurate. So if you want to work ahead, this is an accurate calendar that is detailing, I mean, maybe not extensively, but you're getting an idea of at least what the assigned readings are that you should have to do. So it goes all the way through, and there is an term paper and there is an oral presentation, and the deadlines are in here. So like week 2, propose a topic for your research project. Due August 29th at the start of class. We'll talk about that in class. That's a little more detailed, and I've already taken up enough of your time. So I think that is pretty comprehensive. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, email me. Make sure it's to the right email address. And if I haven't met you yet, we'll see you in class. And if not, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're watching this.